So here's our statistics problem. We measured the length of 10 different people's right arm in inches, and we got 30, 36, 38, 32, 35, 36, 37, 40, 39, and 36. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the variance, and then we're going to use that to find the standard deviation. So the very first thing you need to do is find the average of these 10 numbers. So you add them all up and you get 359. Alright. You take 359, since there were 10 numbers, you divide by 10. That equals 35.9. That's your average. So that's the average length of those 10 people's right arm. Alright, now you take each one of those numbers and subtract this. So you take 30, 36, 38. Take each of these numbers and you subtract the average. Every single one of them. You go all the way down and subtract the average. So there you go. These are all your differences from the mean of each data point. Each data point minus the mean, or minus the average, gives you this number here. Now, the next thing you want to do is take each one of these and square it. That's going to be negative 5.9 squared, 0.1 squared, 2.1 squared, and so on. And so that's going to give you 34.81 for that one. 0.1 squared is 0.01. And so on. So that's going to give you all these. These are now, this column is now the squared differences of each data point from the mean, from the average. And you'll notice that all of these are positive, because even when you square a negative number, you get a positive number. That's really important, because when you go to take the square root to find your standard deviation, you can't take the square root of a negative number. That's why they all end up positive. Alright, so the next thing you do, now you've got these 10 square differences, you need to find the average of these 10. So you add all of those up, and you get 82.9. Alright, that's the total of all your square differences. Now, since there's 10 of them, to get the average, you divide by 10. So 82.9 divided by 10 is going to equal 8.29. This is your variance. Now, all you do to calculate the standard deviation is to take the square root of your variance. So the square root of 8.29 is 2.88, and I round it off to 2 decimal places. Alright, so that's calculating the standard deviation. And the reason that standard deviation is useful is because you can determine if there are any outliers in the data. Now you don't want outliers, because statistics is about finding a model where you can predict what's going to happen. So you don't want any outliers, because that will kind of mess with your data a little bit. So you take the standard deviation, and anything outside 2.5 standard deviations away from the average or the mean is going to be an outlier. So what that means is you take your standard deviation times 2.5, so 2.88 times 2.5, that gives you 7.2. 7.2 is your 2.5 standard deviations. Now your mean was 35.9. So what you're going to do with that is say, take 35.9, your mean, add 7.2. And you get 43.1. So anything over 43.1 is an outlier. Our highest one was 40, so we're good there. Also, you're going to subtract 7.2. So your mean, 35.9 minus 7.2, is 28.7. So anything below 28.7 would be an outlier. And our lowest one is 30. So we're good there too. So we don't have any outliers. So this is probably a good set of statistical data. If you have any questions about this that I didn't answer, please feel free to ask me questions. You can leave those questions in the comments, or you can even email me at andrew@avmathcoach.com. That email comes directly to me and I read everything.